Hi guys, we are looking at inverses again today. This is our last topic. We've looked at inverses with tables and how we just switch the points. We've looked at inverses with graphs and again switch the coordinates and regraph the new image. And now we're going to be looking at inverse functions done algebraically, meaning we're going to find the inverse function by hand. Now there are 4 steps to every inverse function to find. Step 1, like it says there, change any f of x to y. Normally our equations so far have been f of x equals, so now we're going to change that f of x to a y. So we have y equals. Once we're changed over, second step is going to be to, like before, switch those x and y variables. Switch those letters out. Wherever you see a y, change it to an x. Wherever you see an x, change it to a y. Once we have our new equation, step 3 says solve this new equation for y. We're going to set it up as in it was a y equals. And step 4, once we have it in y equals, we're going to change that y now back to f inverse of x. So let's see how this process works on our examples. All right, so example 1, find the inverse of f of x equals 2x minus 3. All right, so step 1, change any f of x we see to a y. So I'm going to change out that f of x to y. So my new equation, y equals 2x minus 3. All right, step 2 says physically switch out or swap the letters. So our new equation, step 2, switch those letters. So the y becomes an x and the x becomes a y. Everything else with my 2 and my minus 3 stays the same. Step 3, solve this new equation for y. So we've got some steps when it comes to solving. So first thing to solve. And this is dealing with step 3. We are either going to add or subtract something. And that something depends on what do we have in our equation. Our new equation that we're looking at has a minus 3 or a subtract 3. So we need to do the opposite of a subtract 3, which is to add 3. And we're going to add 3 to both sides of this equation. Now on the right side, a subtract 3 and an add 3 will cancel out. On the left, we cannot have x plus 3 and get 3x. We can't add a variable and a constant or a letter and a number, so I have to leave it x plus 3. On the right side, I still have equals 2y. All right, so that doesn't need to be a circle 3. Sorry, this is going to be our first thing. We'll change that just to a star so we don't get confused. Second thing, once there's nothing else that we need to add or subtract on the same side with the y, now it is divide. And we're going to divide by whatever is sitting in front of that y. So in this case, the number sitting in front of the y is a 2. So we're going to divide both sides of our equation. Notice I put the division bar all the way across x plus 3. So my 2's will cancel out. My new equation, all right, my new equation, I'm going to move over here a little bit, is x plus 3 over 2 is equal to y. And my last step, step 4, change that y back to an f of x. I'm sorry, an f inverse of x. So f inverse of x is equal to x plus 3 over 2. And there is our inverse. Notice it is exactly the opposite of what happened in your original equation. Your original equation back up at the top had a minus 3. Your inverse has a plus 3. Your original had a multiply by 2. Your inverse has a divide by 2. So let's try that process one more time. And let's see what we get. All right, so step 1. Change any f of x to a y. In this case, it's a g of x. The same thing, I'm going to change that out to my y. So I have y equals negative 9x plus 3. Step 2 is going to be to start solving. Oh, sorry, step 2, switch out your two letters. X equals negative 9y plus 3. And step 3 is our solve. So like before, add or subtract something first. So I have a plus 3, so I need to minus that 3 to both sides of my equation. And now I'm left with x minus 3 is equal to negative 9y. Once there's nothing else to add or subtract on the right, now it is our divide step. So divide both sides by that number in front of the y, which is my negative 9. The negative 9s cancel on the right. And so my new equation is y equals x minus 3 over 9. And sorry, all this solving was step 3. And step 4, our last final step here, I'm going to make this just a little bigger, bear with me. Step 4, rewrite the y as an f inverse of x and your new equation, x minus 3 over 9. And there is my inverse. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed your inverses algebraically. Please don't hesitate to ask me any questions you might have working on this assignment. Thanks, guys.